Where do
By
you
the
want to
way, I
start?
think here's how we'll do it. We'll do it this way. We'll actually start with the Ahri skit because since last week we did, or 2 weeks ago, whatever, we did address this topic. Like we guessed it all, Monty. Literally, like think about it, right. This whole thing of like this skin. If our speculation, right, to people who don't know Riot or the esports industry, we're like, wow, what a bitter, like incredibly cynical take. Like you think it's all just a money grab? No, they're just celebrating greatness and Faker, bro. And then it turns out like the skin is like $500, like equivalent in RP. Like, guys, like would it actually have to also just sort of say like fuck you, you Mark, in the email that you like get when you buy it for like, us to be more right? Like, dude, this is like the double if Lena thing. It's like they couldn't make us look more right. Like in that scenario, if it had come out and it was like $20, we'd look like dickheads. Well, but like now, everyone, even I've noticed even Riot casters are just acknowledging like it's just a cash grab in it. Like everyone seems to just agree now. It's hilarious.
Well, I think it's really outrageous because we wondered, and look, I'm not married to doing things the old way just because it's been done that way in terms of honoring players after they retire to be in a Hall of Fame. I mean, Faker is clearly going to end up in any esports Hall of Fame, not even just League of Legends Hall of Fame. He would be instantly inducted now if he retired now. So I'm not necessarily against the immediate induction, but the thing is, you have to tell me why we're doing it now. Why are we changing the tradition and inducting him during his career? And the answer, unfortunately, as you say, is simply cynical money grabbing. And like, there's not a reason why he has to be inducted now. You didn't give me any. I mean, there's a documentary coming out, Thorin, apparently about him. Which might be good, but of course we could have done that when he retired as well. I mean, I'm excited to see some of his, former teammates and like Kuro, his great rival during like the,
awesome.
2015, 2016, talking to him. Like it looks really good. And it looks like they used a good production company for it. I think it definitely has a lot of potential. And honestly, I mean, I saw our friend, Mr. Narrative Fion, tweeting about this, that he actually went back and watched like all of the pivotal games of Faker's career. And part of the battle pass system that they have is that you kind of revisit parts of his career if you buy the pass, which is cool. Like, I agree. But again, did this need to be done right now? And the answer...
You mean when I'm paying $500?
No. You pay like $20, but anyway.
Or whatever. But to interactively engage with an interactive version of the article Fion wrote 700 times about Faker. Like, so let me guess. First thing you experience is the niddly fucking whatever, like ambition kill on Kha'Zix. Then you go straight to like the ZV. What I love about Fion is like, he is like fucking the Rolling Stones, mate. If you go and see him, he's definitely going to play a jumping jack flash, satisfaction. Like, he'll never veer from the script. In a way, I can appreciate that one. I was trying to do all the things, but he's true blues for Fion. He's true blue.
I'm not buying the battle pass, so I can't speak to it. But I do think it's important because obviously the headline of this was like,
it's a good idea in premise.
And it is, to be clear, not a $500 Ahri skin. It is a $450 Ahri skin, just to be technical about it. And also, there is a $50-ish Ahri skin that's the lowest level one. It's only like the most expensive one. That is that one. So they offer different tiers of the Ahri skin. They offer 3 different tiers at varying prices. But if you buy the battle pass, you get his LeBlanc skin, which is also included in that, which is $20. So it is more accessible, and you can unlock more stuff as it goes along. So I just want to be clear because I do think that, rightfully so, the outrageously priced skin grabbed a lot of headlines. But there is a more reasonable option that is more interactive with Fakers and in my opinion, celebratory of his career. That is at a normal human price point. So they did kind of include something for everybody, and it's clear they're going after whales for this. And if you look at gacha games, like obviously a lot of these Asian gacha games have extraordinarily expensive skins, and guess what? People must be buying them because that's why all these companies put them out there, right? And I think in Asia too, people are more willing to spend a lot of money on rare digital goods because it's seen as more cool or socially acceptable. Whereas obviously in the West, we have a very different cultural reaction to that, which is like, lol, why would you buy that? But I mean, if Chinese people are going to be happy as a result of this skin, and Korean people and whoever knows who else, like,
here's my problem, Monty.
I wouldn't pay for this.
why you have to gaslight me about the Hall of Legends part. Like, why can't you just make a skin that costs whatever and Faker gets a cut, make a thing that celebrates his career? This is all great ideas, by the way. My problem is, because it's all tied together, though, I notice a lot of other people in the industry, Monty, start to make this point. I don't think they probably saw me on Side Select to make it. They just independently arrived by parallel thinking at the same thought. I saw people like, I think maybe like Grabs or Peter Don or someone said something similar. Because the immediate concern I have about the fact that you're only doing it for Faker, so one person at the moment, even though, by the way, the backlog for a Hall of Fame, guys, would be like 100 names deep. Like, we've had like 10 plus years of it, like every region in the world. So the backlog that we need to get through is massive. So the idea we're doing one at a time and we're doing Faker now, and because this is why, Monty, the fact that they're doing it cynically while he's playing and then putting a massively priced set of stuff for Wales is why I'm concerned, because that is almost the opposite of the incentive structure that you would have for a Hall of Fame. A Hall of Fame is supposed to be about honoring the greatness in the game and the past, right? But they're trying to make it incredibly topical now to make loads of money. So here's the first obvious problem I have. Even though I actually do think also you should put people in an order. Like, Faker didn't even play League of Legends until 2013. So to me, the first names in your Hall of Legends for League of Legends, Monty, would literally be these names. It would be like Expeke. He was literally the Season 1 champion, guys, and then did all those other great things. It would be like Mad Life. That'd be the first Korean name, by the way. Mad Life, easily. What are you talking about? He was probably the first true icon of the global game. Even if you want another Korean, Ambition, there's an obvious one for you. Chuck that one in. If you want later people, there's obviously a load of them, Deft, etc., but they're obviously in Faker's era, you know. So you put these names, but the problem is, Monty, no one's going to put any of those three names I just said there, because you're not going to make thousands and millions of dollars off them. You can't make a $500 skin for Mad Life and get us all to buy it. So you see the flaw. And then also, as well as that aspect, the other thing I'm concerned about is if you're going one at a time like this, like, I'll just say it straight up, I don't believe it's a real thing. I don't believe there is a Hall of Legends, Monty. I think Hall of Legends will just be an incredibly small thing where, like, 1 year from now, maybe then they do Deft because he's still active or something. You know what I mean? Like, I think they'll just do it like really slowly, and it'll just be an excuse. Like, here's my problem essentially. I don't believe it's a Hall of Legends which happens to have a really cool, expensive package attached. I think it's the other way around. I think this is an excuse to do this fucking package, etc., and to sell it. But you're dressing it up as what I care about, like celebrate history. But I just don't think you're going to do it. Like, those names I just said, I don't think they're ever going to be in a Hall of Fame. I don't think, by the way, Doublelift can ever get one of these. Like, he'd be considered irrelevant to Riot, you know.
Well, I mean, he should be irrelevant if at the rates that they're putting people in, because they've said now that they're doing one of these a year, and like, he will never get in based off of that. I mean, the obvious next, and it's the thing too, Thorin, is it's not really about celebrating people's careers, because Faker is the obvious one. But the question is, where do you go for number two? And the answer is, it's obviously going to be Uzi. Does Uzi deserve? Oh,
just because the Chinese angle as well, mate.
Of course.
It's just going to be
of course. Reasons, so it just becomes a cynical cash grab, and it's not actually about doing things in the proper order. It's not about celebrating the top players. And to be clear, guys, Uzi absolutely should be in a League of Legends Hall of Fame. That's not the question. The question is he the second person that should go in? And the answer is probably not. Honestly.
And you notice, as you inferred, the real reason you're picking him second is because, one, he is Chinese, and two, he's also insanely famous. He might make loads of money. That can't be, like, you can't actually have a Hall of Fame where you sit down like, hey, Monty, should we put this guy from the 60s? 60s, who gives a shit about him? We're not making any money off him now. Like, here's the analogy for you guys. The analogy would be, like, I'm going to make a ridiculous one just to be stupid, but this would be like if you just make that Caitlin Clark girl everyone's going on about, who just joined the WNBA. Well, logically, you'd make fucking loads of money. Right now, you did something celebrating, like a shirt. Yeah. But what's the point in putting, like, you know, some old, like, fucking Candice Parker from like 10, 15 years ago, who at the time was like the best player? No one would give a shit now, would they? Well, the point there is, that's okay if your thing is just let's make some money off a player. But if your thing was let's celebrate the WNBA, you're going to have a pretty fucked up, skewed history, aren't you, if you're ignoring all the great players because they can't make you any Skrilla today? Because, by the way, like I said, that's why I say you can disconnect it. I'm totally fine with, I'm not anti-capitalist, right? I can make all the money they want. If anything, that also irritates me, Monty. I fucking despise when people like Riot just turn around and use the arguments that we used against them. So Riot is now going to wait until 2024 and then tell us, Monty, hey, why can't we make skins where, like, pros get a share? It's like, You're telling me that, motherfucker. I was telling you that the whole time. Like, I actually don't understand for real why in actually 2013 Mad Life didn't have a Blitzcrank skin that we all... By the way, Monty, you think we all wouldn't have bought the Mad Life Blitzcrank skin, the Matter Thresh skin, the fucking Flame, like, I don't know, Diana skin, or whatever, or Kennen skin, or whatever. We would all have bought this shit if it was out at the time. If that was like the popping shit for the best player in the world at the time, everyone would have that skin. It would be like the ultimate collectible. So I'm not against that. Do all the capitalism shit you want. I just don't get why we have to wait 15 years and then do it through some like fake, like cool way, like pretend that we're doing what I want, like an actual Hall of Fame. Like, we're not really doing that, are we, guys? Come on.
Yeah, and also it's clearly part, and there's, again, I don't have an issue with this. It's just the cynical way it's rolled out, Thorin. This is clearly in conjunction with a deliverable for Mercedes-Benz, which is that they're giving Faker this Mercedes. Like, I think they're going to slap Mercedes logos all over the documentary. You know, this was clearly something that they sold to Mercedes as being part of
the hilarious thing about that, by the way. This is the one thing I've never brought it up because I'm not mean, but on this show, it's not like they're going to hear anyway, so don't worry. Right? And I've always thought the car sponsorship part, even though cars, by the way, are a brilliant, obviously, thing. Everyone needs them in society. They're a lottery brand. Like, people want them, but you attach them with things cool. It's got all the reasons to put them in esports. But I'm just going to say this, guys. You know, like, they have Mercedes with Faker. They obviously had Kia famously with Damn One. I will just say, you have picked the only group of adult males in the world that don't drive cars, you idiots. Like, they're the only people that their whole life they've been on a shuttle back and forth from their thing. They don't even drive cars. Like, no one from Damn One drives a car. You know, yeah, Faker. The joke is Faker's probably never driven a car, if I had to guess. Like, so yeah. Even though I agree, it's fine for the global audience. It's a great spot. It is. You have ironically picked the only people. Like, remember, every other sports star has a car.
That's actually
like,
so true.
You pick the only people in the world who don't drive cars. Like,
I would be shocked.
Remember, they're always just coming from the office.
Remember, Faker's from Seoul. I would be shocked if he had a driver's license.
Why would he? If people don't know, Seoul actually probably has the best transport system in the world. You really don't need a car to live there. And it's got mega taxis, everything. Yeah. So I doubt he not only had a car, but ever will drive a car, mate. Maybe he will in this documentary. That might be it, but I don't know about that bit.
I spent 5 years living in Korea, and I never drove a car. Right. I drive one now that I'm like in Incheon, not in Seoul, but and I need to use it to get around. But I spent years, living there without a car. So it's perfectly plausible not to do that. And as many people from major cities, if you're from London,
the obvious
from New York, you probably not driving.
Now it makes sense why even some of the best Korean players are shit at driving the Rift Herald. Even they sometimes fuck it up, mate, and go in the wrong lane. Even they crash into a wall. So there you go. That explains it. I've solved the whole thing there.
It explains
by the way, low-key, even though it doesn't really affect the game, I actually do like that stupid addition to the game where you can just fuck up the Rift. I just think it's funny. It actually low-key is a good addition to the game. It doesn't really do anything.
That's why Faker was driving so badly on the Rift Herald in the LCK finals from spring. But
the other thing to say is this as well, Monty. The other reason it's so cynical is that story that we all heard last year, where like Faker already wanted the Ahri skin for his world skin, and they were like,
"Yeah, exactly.
Psst, don't do that. Take Oriana because you get an Ahri anyway." That's why we know it's a cash grab. Like, guys, wait a minute. If the winning prize for winning Worlds, Monty, is you get to choose your skin, then you get to choose your skin. You don't then go, I know you just won the World Championship. By the way, remember, for a normal player, even winning once ever is the greatest moment ever. I know that I said you win a skin, but I'm already going to make a skin next year as a Cynical cash grab of you. So can you just do this other skin? Then what's my fucking prize? What do we do? Because that's why I also don't believe, Monty, that everyone else is getting in. Because I'll tell you an immediate problem. I'll tell you why my boy Mad Life's never getting in, Monty. What fucking skin would he have? He was relevant in like 2014 or something. Like, remember, dude, I think it was like 2016 or something. He was fucking in low-cost team in America trying to get in like LCS or some shit, was it? Like, he wouldn't have any modern skin. Think about all the modern support What champion does he play? But Blitzcrank's barely in the meta. Like, so you also, if you're going to make it, it's about making money. You're never going to put some of these people in. Where's House never getting in? No one's getting a vein skin, are they? Like, no one fucking plays that champion. It's not even ADC anymore.
It would be Thresh.
You just never get in, mate.
I mean, the hilarious thing about this current point in time is that Blitz is more in the meta than Thresh is. But,
the joke is, yeah.
And Blitz was played in the LPL.
By the way, low-key, I can't lie. That is actually one thing I do miss about Modern League is the fact that Thresh is barely ever played nowadays. I actually did think that was one of the best champions.
He's one of the best champions to watch, for sure. He's really fun.
Yeah.
But I also think funny, the whole thing is just hilarious because even Faker seems surprised about the $500 price for this skin. And it's like, obviously Riot must be seething with the fact that Faker doesn't use skins, because no joke, that has probably cost them
that is some sort of
millions and millions
that is some
of dollars.
Sort of fucked up karmic justice, Monty. They wish they had some like Tarek XQC whore sellout bitch who'd just do anything, like even just like be permanently playing with skins. Like, hey guys, have you got the newest skin? Like, but the joke is Faker is on some like Bushido code samurai level shit where he's like, it's not the external that matters, but the internal of what the player brings to. I love it. Yeah, and the fact that he's only ever like once by accident and once on purpose, like he's only ever had skins like 2 times, I think, ever in like his whole career. Like that's the other thing that's perfect, isn't it? That your GOAT player not only just doesn't use them, he just like goes out of his way not to use them, and your whole game is a freemium game made around selling skins. I love it.
It is so very good. Funny.
Because the joke is, as you say, Monty, that's probably why they've done this cynical cash grab, because it's actually the other way around. They've probably lost millions of dollars from Faker just not giving a fuck. Because think about it, every one of those clips, by the way, if you just take his same highlight clip but have like a baller skin, it would actually make people buy the skin. Like if everyone remembered that like Riven one was, you know what I mean? Like if every one of the famous clips was on a particular skin, it would just make you think differently. And actually, and it would have sold so many, of course. Yeah. I even wonder if it affected how many world skins he sold, because it might have, right? Maybe people don't buy as much.
So he has. Much, right? He has used his World's Z skin when he was trolling with his team.
Yeah, All-Stars.
All-Stars, yeah. He famously did. It was very funny when he did it too.
That was the ultimate era when it just showed that like Korea was so much better than the West, wasn't it? In a real tournament match, guys, when they were still in the tournament, they just picked all their world skins which weren't even meta and still won the game against the best team in Europe, probably the best Western team like at the time. And that is actually ball as fuck. I can't lie.
Not only that, but they gave Xpeke Kassadin, which was mega broken at the time, simply so that they could play Zed, because Zed was, ostensibly a good in lane versus Kassadin.
Yeah, no, so that actually was G. Yeah.
So yeah, he has used skins, and also famously Thorin. Sometimes he's accidentally used skins because when they're testing the accounts before they do the live games, like somebody will select the skin and then he'll be on that same account, and then so the skin is already pre-selected when he selects that champion. So that has happened before too. He has actually accidentally picked skins a couple of times.
Which, by the way, I'm sorry, even though, to be fair, this is just a random Korean person, so it is plausible. I'm just going to say this, Monty. I don't know if I believe that someone's accidentally activated this skin on Faker's account. That even sounds like a setup itself, really? Have they accidentally activated it, though? Have they, though? That sounds like someone said, like, look, he doesn't even use skins. He won't even notice. Just put it on the account and see if he does it. And then, oh, shit, what happened there?
All of a sudden that skin sales spike 500% over the next 24 hours. Well, anyway, further about this, Thorin, like they clearly didn't tell Faker the price point of these skins because he was surprised by it, which does seem like, to your point earlier about how he doesn't use skins, and he wanted the Ahri skin for his world skin, which would have been a more reasonably priced skin. He basically, I can imagine if I was Faker and I was told, no, you can't pick Ahri because we're making you a special Ahri skin. Pick something else. And he's like, okay, I pick Orianna. And then they come out and the skin that I wanted is $500. I would be pretty pissed, even if I was making 30% of these sales, right? And he's not making 30%, guys. Let's be very clear. Riot has intentionally obfuscated the amount of money that he is getting because 30% includes T1. And here's the other thing, guys. Remember
that an agent could have $1 million hidden costs, right?
Could, and we don't know how it's allocated.
Might even get taxed on it. Who knows? Yeah, everything.
So here's the other thing. On world skins, the region that wins worlds also gets a cut. So, for example,
you all share it. Yes.
So LCK, because when T1's new skins come out, all the teams in LCK get part of that 30%, right? And it's split amongst the region that wins, the franchise teams in the region that wins. So what percentage is T1 getting? What percentage is Faker getting? Is there a percentage like the world skins that is going to other LCK teams? We don't know the answers to these questions. And Riot doesn't want to say, which I think is highly suspicious. But this is another example of like Riot is prioritizing all this other stuff, Thorin, but they're dropping the ball on actually monetizing for the teams. Remember, They promised the teams digital goods that would be sold through the streaming platform that they were developing. Then they killed the streaming platform and never said anything publicly about it. And by the way, I can tell you guys, also never said anything privately to the teams. They never even addressed it with the teams that are their franchise partners. They never said, hey guys, you know that streaming platform I promised you? Well, that's not happening anymore. Instead, we get more vague promises about digital goods at some point in the future that have never, ever, ever, ever fucking manifested. And instead, what we get is a faker skin where we don't even know if that is going to other LCK teams. And also, let's be clear, T1's going to get a ton of money from the world skins anyway. Why are we making T1 so rich? You know what I mean? Like, why do you have to win worlds to get digital goods in game?
Wait, I definitely agree. If this is literally to celebrate Faker, 100% of his cut should only be his cut, Monty. That's just obvious. Like, I'm being serious. Why should T1 get a cut of Faker's legendary skin? They already earned whatever spot. Look, they didn't, because obviously we lose money. But in theory, they already made all that revenue off Faker. They won all the championships with Faker. As you said, they're already getting a cut of the world skins. Like, why would they get a cut of his personal skin as well? Like, because I'm with you. The actual best way, if this was really about like celebrating Faker, would be if in the article you could explain that he is going to make millions of dollars. By the way, that would also even be cool. Imagine if like you did this for real and there actually was a way. Like, again, I don't know how you could get the old legends, but that would actually be a cool. You know, I've always thought that is a real thing I do want in esports. I don't know if you know this, but there's one sport, I forget if it's the NFL, there's one of the American sports I know where they do have like a little fund for the like legendary players that comes out of like, I think it's like a tiny percent of like the current player's salary, or like maybe
I think
like
it's the NFL.
Yeah, there's one of them where they do it as like, I can't remember if it's to cover like, you know, like health costs or something like that, or if
I
it's
think
actually
it's
just
the
like a
NFL.
little like, it's something like that, isn't it? Because I've always thought in esports, the reason why it would be even cooler in esports if we had that is because one, an esports career is so short, and two, we've scaled up so much. Like I was thinking about this the other day. So in CSGO, right, and CS2 rather, like G2 just won this IEM Dallas tournament, right? And their coach is Taz, that legendary Virtus Pro player, right? But what people don't realize is, so ESL flexed that because this is the 100th IEM tournament. Well, he actually is a player, Monty. He won the first IEM. He won the first IEM that was in 2007, right? That was in like Hanover or some shit, right? Well, here's the part that people don't realize about that. Even though when he won that first tournament, he was in like arguably the best team in the world, he will have been making like $500 a month salary. Like the joke is now as a coach of a team winning in the 100th one, he probably makes, no joke, 40 times that salary. Like he's on insanely. But so what I want is I actually would like things that were sort of like pay the old legends. Like imagine if, like I said, you could have a Blitzcrank skin, but you knew that Mad Life got all the money. Dude, that would be sick. If Mad Life, like all these years after his career, got like fucking 400K or something, like a little, almost like a fucking retirement gift. That would be baller. I think that would actually be really cool for the sport.
Yeah.
I want all the old legends to get their sort of pay in the end, you know, because they built what we got now. They deserve a little cut. They deserve a kickback, you know.
I want the teams to have digital goods. Like,
Sure.
I want the teams to be solvent. Like the teams continue just to get absolutely shit on in this ecosystem because there are no media rights deals, which they were promised. There are no digital goods in League of Legends, which they were promised and then which got revoked. They're constantly told, oh, we're making this streaming platform and that's going to help us sell these digital goods. No, canceled. Don't even say anything to the teams. Like, you know, Riot is very like one-sided and abusive towards these teams because they got them on the hook. And the thing is, nobody is going to bail on this ecosystem. And so they just know they can just perpetuate this until the end of time.
You know, one thing I want to know, I really don't get it. Even though it wouldn't look that great in game, the obvious thing to me for real, I mean, look, it works better in Counter-Strike, but you could still do it in League, is why are there not skins that actually incorporate the logos of the teams in the skin? Like, why can't I not buy like a skin that's like T1 Oriana? You know what I mean? Like, why can't I not buy that? Like, it's got like some cool design, or it's like a trainer up the side. It says the T1 logo. That would be baller. You know, someone made a point, by the way, in the chat that I actually think is relevant. It's one of the rare times ever the chat will get to contribute, Monty, which is, you know, the other reason why the team org getting the money doesn't make any sense. Because that's easy with T1, because he was there the whole time. What do you do for Uzi, for example? Which org gets the money?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Is like
the current org, won't it? So if he signs with like fucking EDG again, they get all the money, even though he's on RNG. The whole, you know what I mean? Like
they said very vaguely. They said very vaguely, I believe, that it would be split between all of the teams. But like, so it's like RNG would probably, maybe it's like how many years that player spent with the team that it gets cut. You know, the cuts get. But I mean, obviously, it gets really messy. It's easy for Faker because he was just on T1 his whole fucking career.
Exactly.
But it's really hard. Like, what happens if Deft gets in? Deft's been on every fucking team. Right? You know, if the region is getting cuts, then you get the problem of how much does the LPL get versus the LCK, right? It's obviously a really messy problem. But you know, look, the other thing that makes me sad about this whole thing is like part of the $500 cost is clearly, and the, you know, even the baseline Ahri skin, which is like $50, is clearly because the thing that Riot and the math that they're doing, by the way, guys, the reason why they don't make these digital goods is because in Riot's mind, and I'm not saying this is a bad decision, this is a good business decision from Riot, it's just shitty for the teams, is that they could either make 100% of a skin money, or they could make 70%. And the thing is, with these skins, it's not just the 100%, you know, versus 70%, because they're paying for this really shiny documentary. That documentary probably cost $1 million or more to make, guys. Flying all those people around, doing all those interviews, editing it, all of the production value, lighting, everything that went into it. The narrative design, you know, making the battle pass, paying Fionn to like watch all the Fakers games and then set up the narrative. So basically it's not only that they're only getting 70%, it's that they have huge costs associated with this. Now, part of that was probably defrayed by Mercedes-Benz or whatever partnership. But remember, at any point in time, Riot can release Pool Party Ahri in a bikini and make 100% of that money. So they are making decisions about pricing of these skins that has to incorporate the costs that they are incurring as a result of this. And I think that's another reason why this stuff is so expensive. I think that's another reason.
Also, when does the Frog and Anivia skin come out? It's the way I would actually complain, but then I'd just be like a total hypocrite. What the hell? I love skins now. I would buy it. No joke.
Yeah, I mean, look. So I think there are a lot of issues with this, but I think the main one is just the point you reached earlier, Thorin, which is it just feels bad. Like, it just feels cynical. And like, this isn't how...
Why is that like the nuclear option? Like, if they ever like are about to go out of business, like raise the pool party skins. Like,
I know, it's so funny.
What is this at all? That's like a comedy. That's like actually Austin Powers, like, release the nukes or whatever. Like, it's ridiculous, mate. Ridiculous. I love it.
I mean, you guys are to blame, fans, because you want Bikini Fox Girl for whatever reason. Like, come on, dude.
You know what? Oh, dude, you know what I've just realized now? Oh, my God. This is where I'm at. You know what? The one thing, Monty, this might sound weird, but this is a philosophical point. I actually do believe, in general, one of the good things is that, I know this will sound weird, but I think actually a lot of people who are evil or like twisted, they don't tend to be, I know this will sound weird, but they don't tend to actually be that intelligent and creative about how they're evil. They tend to be kind of a bit blunt and a bit brute force about how they're evil. I don't know if it's like that sort of fucking Tolkien angle of, you know, like only good can create and then evil just has to like warp that into whatever it does. But I will say this, you know what I've realized would have actually been, and they're going to hear this now and be so mad they didn't think of this idea. Do you know what would have been the most cynical but genius idea Riot could have done? When they got that announcement that they were getting the $100 million fine, you just release literally a super sexy, like fucking pool party line, but you say it's to support women, and that 10% of it, you make it some shitter amount, like only 10%. So what you do is you take 90% and just pay off all your fine with it, and then you make money off the women. You just say it's to support women and goes to like women's charities or something. That would, because what's genius is that would work. The sad thing is it would work, Monty. I'm actually so glad they never thought of that, because that would have been like the ultimate way to not even have the fine, isn't it? Like that, they wish they thought of that idea. But they wish they thought of that idea. By the way, I'll just give you a free one right now, right? There's an obvious one you can do right now. You can do a super gay skin for this month and then give all the money to like LGBTQ charities. And then the joke is we'll all pretend you're partner with the Saudis, even though you've just obviously fucking gone all deep on that, haven't you? We'll just get to that later. It's all good.
Oh yeah. I mean, look, we can get to that right now because we're back, guys. It's
you can
June.
You can have like a fucking vein skin. Oh, that Vane's a woman, actually. It needs to be like fucking Draven and assless chaps or something like that, you know. Yeah, there you go. Go for it. Fucking go for it, I guess, right?
see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.